Howdy friends and neighbors. On our recent visit to the farm on Route 66, I had the opportunity to work with this little filly named Pearl, and what I thought I would do over the next couple of videos is give you an inside look from my perspective and give you my observations as I'm working with Pearl. My hope is that this will help somebody out there in their horsemanship journey find a better way to communicate with their horse. So sit back and relax as I bring you this training session with Pearl through my eyes. Hope you enjoy. Alrighty folks, we're here with the last installment of working with Pearl at the farm on Route 66. And as we continue, I am actually trimming her feet. And one of the things I wanted to cover and really emphasize is the amount of time that I spent with Pearl. Overall, the whole training session was an hour and about 40 minutes long, maybe a little bit more, but that's how much video footage we had of it. And if you're at home and you're a horse owner and you don't have an hour and 40 minutes to spend on a horse to get them used to getting their feet trimmed, at any point during this training you can quit, as long as you quit on a good note. A lot of people in the comments ask me, how much time do you spend doing a particular thing? Well, as long as you get a good response, as long as it's a good outcome, and the horse is giving, then you can stop. You don't have to just keep going. I only had the amount of time I had while I was there at Vicky and Allen's, and I wanted to make sure that I could get as much done as I possibly could. And Pearl was awesome. She was able to withstand the pressure. She was mentally engaging. She was pretty persistent in her wanting to run away from everything, but she was mentally engaging, and that's the big thing. You can work a horse as long as they are mentally engaging and you're making progress. So if you're at home, like I said, and a horse owner and you don't have the time, you can stop anywhere you want to and just get a good response, and then stop and come back the next day. Now that next day you might have to start the whole process over again, but hopefully it'll go a little bit faster and a little bit smoother than it did the day before. You know, if you can work with your horse every day, awesome. If you can only work with it 3 days a week, you know, you're not going to get the responsiveness and you're not going to get the progress that somebody would that gets to work with them every day. And if you can only work with them 1 day a week, just have the expectations that those time frames is what is going to determine how successful you are in working with your horse. So we continue trimming Pearl's feet here, and I'm trying to do this with one hand. It's pretty hard. She's not ready at this point for me to put her foot between my legs and clamp down on her and sit there and hold her. So I'm doing the best thing for the horse at the moment, but she's taking it in stride. I've cleaned her feet out, trimming it, cutting it off, and I really didn't try to rasp. I just did a really quick trim with just the nippers, but they looked fairly decent when it got done. She's a really good horse to work with. And now I'm going to repeat the process that I did in the prior videos. I had worked with her on the left side. Now I'm going to repeat the same process. I didn't bother to bring you the whole process. You guys can go back and see what I did on the left side. We're now on the right side, and this is her where she lacks self-confidence. So it was a little bit more of a challenge when we get to where I am actually trimming her feet, but I go through the same steps that I did in the last video, teaching her to lead by her foot, teaching her to give to the pressure, and building that repertoire of when she gives, I give. And as I'm working with her here and start to trim her feet, I want to talk to you a little bit about Pearl. She's really good horse to work with, in my opinion. I like a horse that is a little bit more of a ball. They like to move their feet. They're a little bit easier to manage. The old law of physics, an object in motion tends to stay in motion, and once it's in motion, it's easier to direct. So these ball type horses that are real excitable and like to move their feet are just a little bit easier to train, in my opinion, and I like working with them. An extreme ball can be a challenge. She's not an extreme ball. She just is kind of somewhere in the middle there. She likes to move her feet, but if you give her a place to rest and a place to find comfort, she'll stay with you, which an extreme ball won't do that. But I really enjoy training these type of horses compared to a block. A block, you can't get them to move their feet, so it's really hard to get a lot of things done with them because they just are not willing to work. It really works you kind of hard. I've seen people trying to do colt startings with a block, and you just don't get anywhere very fast because it takes a lot of time and a lot of patience and a lot of persistence to get a block to move their feet. Here I am trimming her right foot, and you see I had a little bit more of an issue with it because this is her side where she's just not as comfortable with people. She's not as comfortable on this side. And all horses are like people. They're either right-handed or left-handed. They've got a side that they have developed more than the other, and it's our job as trainers to balance that horse out. The number one rule when you're training horses is bring some balance. If a horse doesn't turn really good one way, or they like to be a little bit sticky on one side, you have to be the balance bringer to that horse, so you have to do a little bit more work with them on that side. The other thing I'd like to mention is when I go into a round pen with a horse, my expectation is not to accomplish what it is I set out to do that day. Sometimes it gets done and sometimes it don't. My goal is to establish a process that at some point, maybe not the next day or the day after that, but at some point I can get whatever it is I set out to do accomplished. Remember, it's all about the process. If you get the process right, you'll get the end result. I really appreciate everybody following along on this little series. It was really fun working with Pearl. I hope folks got something out of it that they can take and use, and hopefully it was helpful. I want to thank you all for stopping by. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the old notification bell to see what we're going to be doing next. And until next time, be not weary in well doing, for in due season ye shall reap, if you faint not. We'll see you later.